So you're thinking about moving to Bend from Seattle. Well, that's exactly what we're going to be covering in today's video. We're going to go into depth on the cost of living in Bend as it relates to the cost of living in Seattle. Maybe touch on some culture things, some vibe things, what it's like to live in Seattle versus what it's like to live in Bend, so you can make the best decision for you while you're doing your due diligence. So if this video sounds like it's for you, then stick around because we're going to be getting after this comparison right now. Hey, if this is your first time to the channel and you want to know everything there is to know about living, eating, sleeping, working, playing, the good and the bad, the cost of living in Bend or somewhere else in Central Oregon, then subscribe to the channel and tap that notification bell below so you can be the first to know about the current market here in Bend and Central Oregon. My name's Ryan and I've lived in Bend for over 30 years. My business partner Zach and I, we get calls and texts every day from people just like you, looking for help on making their move to Bend or anywhere else in Central Oregon, and we absolutely love it. Whether you're moving in 9 days or 90 days, give us a call, shoot us a text, send us an email, or even set up a Zoom meeting. We'd be happy to help you make that smooth move to Bend or anywhere else here in Central Oregon. So like I said in the intro, we're going to be doing a cost of living comparison between Seattle and Bend. So why are we doing this type of video? Well, to be frank, there's a lot of people that end up moving to Bend on an annual basis from the Seattle area. And so what happens is Bend and Seattle are relatively close. They're about 6-hour drive away, maybe 300 miles or so in that range when it comes to just driving distance. And most importantly, it's about a 60 to 75 minute flight, give or take, to and from Redmond's Airport up to SeaTac Airport. And so that is our primary hub out of Redmond's Airport. That's our main commercial hub here in the Central Oregon area. We get over 1 million visitors every single year, passengers that go through the airport on an annual basis, but 7 out of every 28 flights daily go up to Seattle and back and forth from Seattle. So that's our main hub. We don't have service to Portland, Oregon, or PDX, our airport up in Portland. So it's primarily Redmond to Seattle. There's just a huge connection between the two towns. One's a huge city, obviously. The other one is a smaller town up in the mountains. And so we do a video like this today to help you understand what it's like to, live in Bend versus visit Bend. A lot of you that live up in the Seattle area end up coming down here for vacation on an annual basis, whether it's in Sun River or in Bend or in the Redmond area. But for you to consider living here, let's dive into that and give you a better understanding of what it's like to actually live here, what you can expect from an expense standpoint, to give you a better understanding of what it's really like to live here in Central Oregon. It's one thing to visit for a weekend, for a week, for a couple weeks out of the year, but it's another thing to actually live here. So what we want to do is give you some perspective on what you can expect when you make that actual move to come down here and commit to living in Central Oregon. So what we're going to do now is share the screen and go to my favorite tool when it comes to cost of living analysis, bestplaces.net, so we can give you an understanding of what's really going on here in the area. So let's just get all of our ducks in a row here, get my face here up in the screen so you can look at me while I'm talking to you, and then we will be off and running. So again, bestplaces.net is a great tool when it comes to comparing two towns, especially when I have clients that are coming in from other areas that I'm not so familiar with. I have some understanding of Seattle. I've been to Seattle many, many times over the course of time. And it's just, like I said, it's a connecting city to the rest of the country, to the rest of the world, because we have so many daily flights that go up to Seattle. And that's our hub. That's our main gateway to everywhere else. Outside of that, it's San Francisco and maybe LAX. But those are the 3 primary areas that our little airport, our 28 to 30 flights a day, we're either going to the LA area or to the San Francisco Bay Area, or we're going up to Seattle primarily. That is the primary 3 destinations that we get to access when it comes to getting the heck out of Dodge in this town via an airplane. So I digress. Back to this comparison. Take a look here, bestplaces.net. We've done a couple of these videos before. We just want to give you an understanding of how this all works. This here is just some hard data. Obviously, Bend is 97,000 people. I think we're a little over that now. We're probably at 103, 104,000 people in terms of our population. Seattle, just under 750,000 in the city limits. And then the metropolitan area is roughly 4 million people. You can correct me if I'm wrong if you're watching this and you live up in Seattle. But that gives you an understanding. If the median home income in Bend is 52,000, the median home income up in Seattle 67. and you just gives you some data here. A little bit younger, slightly younger, a little bit, it's a bigger city. There's going to be more younger people going there for their jobs out of college. There's probably more people in school, especially there's more schools. Okay, so that's going to make sense. The average home price or median home price here is $666 according to this. We'll touch on that in a little bit. It's actually a little bit higher here in Bend as of this month, but that's relatively close. And then we have Seattle 824. Okay, crazy, about 25% higher when it comes to the median home cost of Seattle as it pertains to Bend. So let's just jump right in here. What we do here is we start with the baseline, 100. Okay, the score of 100 is the national average for every category that we're covering when it comes to cost of living in Bend versus cost of living in Seattle. And we're going to go through all of it: food and groceries, healthcare, housing, median home cost, utilities, transportation, miscellaneous expenses is entertainment, restaurants, eating out, going to the movies, going to shows, going to sporting events, etc. So that gives you a basic understanding. Remember, 100 is always the median. That's the average in the entire country, the United States. And so Bend, with a general score of 131, is going to have a higher cost of living than the average cost of living in the United States at any given area that we're comparing it to. And for good reason. Bend is in a very prime location. It's in the center of Oregon. It's a desert town. We're on the other side of those mountains, which makes the climate a desert, dry climate, a lot of sunshine, very low humidity, much more pleasant in terms of climate than, say, the Portland, Oregon, and the Willamette Valley area, where the primary body of our population resides in the state of Oregon. And that relates to Seattle too. Seattle is an oceanic climate. It's on Puget Sound. It's at sea level. They get a lot of cloud coverage, and they have a lot of ocean style weather, a lot of rain. Of course, Seattle's notorious for its rain. We get here in Bend almost 300 days of sunshine a year. Seattle, I think, you can correct me if I'm wrong again, gets less than 100. So go ahead and tell me I'm wrong. I would love for that. Drop that comment in the comment section below about the weather up in Seattle. But the cost of living up in Seattle is going to be significantly higher. It's 167.8 versus 131. So if you're moving down here from Seattle, you're going to expect a more affordable cost of living upon arrival. And that's what gets so exciting about living in Bend, because it's a slower pace, less people, more things to do. But Seattle's still great. It's got the city vibe, the urban feel. There's so much culture with Seattle. There's pros and cons with living in Seattle, just like there are with Bend. I'm sure people that live in Seattle that are considering moving down here will be able to tell me about the cons that I'm unaware of. But I mean, there's certainly what we've read and seen in the news over the last couple of years, especially during a certain pandemic going on, just crazy stuff happening all over the place. So let's continue on with our cost of living comparison. Groceries, food and groceries, 102 to 108, a little bit more expensive up in the Seattle area. Healthcare costs, 97.9 in Bend versus 88.2. Seattle has been said, and it's been talked about, that it's the most educated country, or most educated city in the country. Okay, and some of you guys will be like, yes, we are. We have got the most college degrees. That's awesome. Congratulations. The point is that they're both, Bend versus Seattle, they're both very health conscious and health oriented areas as a general whole. There's going to be exceptions, of course, but we're an outdoor area here in Bend. A lot of people move here for the fitness, for the outdoor amenities, things like that. We take care of ourselves. We've got a lot of doctors, a lot of healthcare practitioners that love the outdoor amenities, the recreational opportunities. So they want to figure out a way to bring their career here. So thus we're going to have plenty of qualified type health practitioners that want to live here and want to practice their business here. And so again, we are very fortunate to have those types of people here working here, but we also have plenty of people that are very focused on living healthy lifestyles in general. As is Seattle. It's pretty interesting to see that the healthcare costs are both below the national average, and that's for good reason. We're in a healthy area. The Pacific Northwest, the West Coast, in general, can be more of a health-oriented, fitness-oriented region compared to the rest of the country. Remember, we're comparing it to the rest of the country when it comes to these two scores. But when we're comparing Seattle to Bend, Seattle a little bit less when it comes to the cost of healthcare. Housing, 217 versus 291. Big elephant in the room there. Bend is an expensive place to live. It's been getting more and more expensive over the course of time. However, more recently, it has come down a little bit. We'll touch on that right here in a second. You can see the median home price is $666 according to bestplaces.net. That's actually pretty accurate. It's slightly off. We'll touch on that here in just a moment. Versus $823,900 up in Seattle. So significantly more, 25% almost more in terms of housing up in Seattle versus Bend. If we were to look at the actual hard data here, what we'll do is we can move into this chart here. This is the Beacon report. This is our monthly report when it comes to local data and housing information as to what's sold, how long on the market, how many units are selling, etc. So let's look here. This is Bend. This is for the month of March of 2023. This is brand new data here, just a couple days old. You can see our median home price was $685,000 last month. And you can also look back, you can scale back up to 36 months in that range. Our peak median home price was about 12 months ago, $773,000 for a single family home here in Bend. That's the highest all time. Obviously, you can see the uptick since March of 2020 when all the housing market just went berserk and all this relocation started happening. Just a crazy period of time. We are seeing a little bit of a correction now. It's healthy. We absolutely need that. We were at 773. We dipped down to 660 last month. And now we're back up to 685 for the most current month. It's good. We need to slow things down. It can't just keep going up forever. This helps other people that are in the market remain in the market. There was a certain buyer's fatigue going on for a long time where people that were qualified for mortgages would go shopping for a house and they would get outbid or they'd get snubbed just by timing because every house that came on the market was getting scooped up almost immediately. If we look down here, let's scroll down here just real quick and look at the average days on the market. Look how long of a period of time the average days on market for a home in Bend was. 4, look at 4s across the board here, 5, 6, 7, just anything under 10 is just outrageous. So imagine being a buyer coming in from out of the area and wanting to purchase a home and realizing immediately that this is a absolutely crazy competitive market. So if I really want to be competitive myself, I have to put a bid or an offer on a home almost sight unseen and immediately upon it coming onto the market, just nuts. And so with the way things have gone more recently, we are correcting back to a more healthy state of the market. You can see 28 days dip down. We got up to 51 days in February. Okay, 51 days average time on market. That's a little healthier. That gives people that are in the market purchasing more relief, less anxiety. They can just kind of focus on which house they want instead of just getting any house. But you can also see here that it's already kind of recorrected and come back down. So we're getting into that housing season now here in the spring and summertime as we move into those seasons in Central Oregon. It'll be interesting to see what happens. But this gives you some idea as to where we're at. 125 units sold last month and our median home price was $685. If we scroll down a little bit, Redmond is very close to Bend. A lot of people from the Seattle area are going to wind up moving into the Redmond area as well. Very similar metrics here, just on a smaller scale. Median home price at the peak was $538 or $542 respectively. You can see that here. We're currently sitting at $440,000 per median home price in Redmond, Oregon. Bend and Redmond are basically one and the same, little different cultures, little different vibes, but at the same time, we're all Central Oregon here. We're all here for the reasons that we say in our videos, right? The outdoor lifestyle, the slower pace of living, the lifestyle is just fantastic. So that gives you some understanding. But if you're moving from Seattle to Redmond, similar deal. You could 4 days on the market was just across the board, under 10 days for a long time. But again, it's kind of done the same similar style metrics, just on a smaller scale. So you can live in Central Oregon in Redmond for a significantly less amount of money when it comes to housing in Redmond as it pertains to Bend. But if you're coming from Seattle, either way you win, right? So it's just a matter of finding which town is the best fit for you. So let's go back to where we're at with our comparison. Now that we have an understanding of where the median home price is, if you're in Seattle, you know your current median home price, and you can understand that you are going to be living a significantly less, it's going to be less of a cost of living in Bend with all the amenities that Bend has to offer. So a pretty cool deal there if you're coming from Seattle. And that relates to San Francisco, LA, etc. But a lot of people are commuting in from Seattle. We get probably 500 to 600 people a year that actually end up moving from Seattle, the Seattle area, to Central Oregon. So this can be a valuable video for those that are in that boat right now. Utilities, 83 to 68. Again, Bend is a unique climate. We're at 3,600 feet. We're on the east side of the foothills of the Cascade Mountains. It's a desert climate. We get wild fluctuations in our daily highs and daily lows. on a daily basis, especially in the summertime. We can have a 95-degree daytime high, and we can dip down even to 50 degrees for a daytime low. So wild fluctuations there. Not so humid. Pretty interesting in that regard. Whereas Seattle, it's an oceanic climate. It's on Puget Sound. Way more consistent, right? Daytime highs versus daytime lows are going to be much more condensed and not too separated. Whereas in a desert climate, we get wild fluctuations. Pretty interesting, but it's nice to know that we don't have that humidity where it's like you walk outside and you're sweating through your shirts 10 minutes later. Not to say that Seattle gets that, but still, it's interesting. So we get the 300 days of sunshine. Seattle is known for its rain and gloom. Seattle in the summertime is absolutely fantastic, but that's a very short-lived season up there. And again, if I'm wrong and you're in Seattle, please tell me. Please drop something in the comment section below and just tell me how wrong I am. I love hearing about that. Utilities, 83 to 68. Again, that's compared to the national average of 100. So that kind of gives us an understanding. We have the Columbia River sandwiched right in between Seattle and Bend, and there are dozens of dams that supply the entire Pacific Northwest with all kinds of power, and so that can contribute to maybe both of the areas that we're comparing today, Bend and Seattle, to be below the 100 average. Transportation, 82 versus 137. Obviously, Seattle is going to have a significantly higher cost of transportation in terms of money as well as time. Okay, sprawled out city. There's so many people condensed into a small area. Bend is a small town compared to Seattle, obviously. Okay, 100,000 people. A lot of people work from home. A lot of people work in the area, the neighborhood that they live in. They can ride their bike. They can walk. They can drive. I guess we don't really have a great public transportation system. We do have buses, a bus line that goes a couple different routes, but it's nothing compared to the Seattle infrastructure. Of course, the average commute time in Bend is 15 minutes. Most people will end up driving to and from, and a lot of that has to do with the fact that some people have to drive to Redmond or drive to Sisters or Lapine, etc. And so that will lengthen the average commute time in general. Seattle, on the other hand, it's 30, 35 minutes minimum. Okay, and tell me what yours is if you're watching this and you're up in Seattle. I'd love to know what your average commute time is while living in Seattle. So obviously Bend is going to be much more. You're going to save so much time, days upon days over the course of a year in terms of hours that you are going to be saving when it comes to your commute times. Miscellaneous expenses, 135 in Bend versus 150. Compared to the national average, it's 100. Okay, so this is restaurants, this is entertainment, this is shows, this is sporting events. Okay, Bend doesn't have nearly the plethora of options that Seattle does, but Bend does have great restaurants. They get packed, they get backed up. We've got so many people that come in here to visit on an annual basis. So if we do have 100,000 people in our city, it could feel like 200,000 any given weekend, any given week in the summer, because there's just so many people, and so the city feels full a lot of the time. That's kind of a drawback. I mean, Seattle might feel the same way, but it's a big city. Once you get to a certain threshold in terms of a city size, metropolitan area, it doesn't really matter. But Bend is growing at a very alarming clip, and the infrastructure it's trying to keep up, but it can be kind of difficult. Again, 4 million visitors every single year. Pretty crazy considering that our town has 100,000, but our metropolitan area, the Deschutes County area, has 200,000 people. So that gives you some understanding of where the cost of living really is. I'm so curious to know what your feedback is. Let's just do one more thing here. We can wrap this video up. I want to do a little housing comparison between Seattle and Bend. And so what we have here are homes in the $500,000 range in Seattle and Bend, and then we'll go all the way up to $1 million. But this will give you an understanding. This blue line here represents Bend, Oregon, as it relates to Zillow. Okay, you can see the edge of the blue line goes all the way to Sisters. That's 20 miles away. You can see it goes to the edge of Redmond. That's 15 miles away. It sprawls out all the way. I shouldn't use the word sprawl for Bend. It stretches all the way into Alfalfa. This is all country land here. Big properties with acreage. Okay, it goes down to the Sun River area, down to the edge of Lapine, Sun River area. I mean, so it's large, but obviously the majority of our population is going to be in Bend. It's right here where all the red dots are. Those are the homes in between $500,000 and $1 million, 500,000 and $1 million. So let's just go through a little bit. 500 grand, $500,000 right now 1,592 square feet. You're going to get a house with a small lot. Okay, again, Bend has homes for sale. The median home price has been coming down on a regular basis, just like it has up in Seattle and most places in the country. That's been the goal for our government, to bring down the cost of living, deflate inflation, etc. So it makes it harder for people to acquire homes. Prices of homes thus come down as a result. But you get a feel for what $500,000 is getting people right now in our market. A lot of 3-bed, 2 baths, 1,200 to 1,600 square feet in that range, depending on where you're located. You'll get a little bit more home in Redmond, of course, for this price point right now, because these homes right here at $550 are significantly less than our median home price. But in Redmond, they're significantly more than the median home price. So Bend and Redmond, again, Central Oregon, it's all the same when it comes to the lifestyle, but it's just a matter of where you want to live and what your budget is. This gives you some understanding, though, of where we're at. 2,500 square feet. This is out in La Pine, okay, 585,000. That's going to be down here in this area here. That's about 20 or 30 miles to our south. But you get an idea as to where $500,000 to $600,000 is at right now in our market. If we did the same thing in Seattle, we're talking about 650 square foot home, tiny homes here, 880. Anything over 1,000 square feet right now for $500,000 seems like a bargain, right? And so we're scrolling through here, and what we see are just very small homes for $500,000. So this kind of gives you an idea as to where we're at. Let's go up to a higher price point, still under $1 million. We'll get into the 800s here. So we'll compare 850, 880, maybe up to $900,000 homes in the Seattle area. What you're getting some home now, but again, it's probably a question of location, probably a question of the aesthetics of the house, the age of the house, maybe some upkeep that's necessary for it. But there's probably some good value in the $880,000 to $900,000 mark in Seattle, because that's where their median home price is right now. So this just gives you an idea. 4-bed, 2-bath, $2,390. Another 3-bed, 2-bath. Okay, we're starting to get in some family style homes here that can accommodate more than just 1 or 2 people, but people that have families and kids. So let's go over to Bend real quick. We'll do the same thing, then we can wrap this video up. But again, $825,000. Here we go. We're starting to get into 4-bed, 3-bath, maybe a decent sized lot there on that side of town. This is going to be out in Sun River, $835,000, 97707. Okay, that's been on the market for a while. Let's see. Let's find a house that's been relatively new to listing. 6 days on the market, $850,000. Okay, new construction. Some of these homes are looking like they're ready to be taken off the market by a potential buyer. So again, this gives you guys some understanding of where the market is. 850,000. Okay, this is a Northeast Bend neighborhood here, Petrosa by Polish Homes. Great, absolute great builder. We're going to do some model home tours of their projects here in the coming weeks as we get closer to the spring and summer season. But this gives you some understanding of what the floor plans look like. This is $850,000 for this home that's on the northeast side of town. Again, so this gives you guys some just some perspective on where we're at in the market here. And you guys, of course, can do this type of thing yourself when it comes to comparing. But we just want to give you perspective. Our goal here is to provide as much value as we possibly can as you're making your due diligence, going through the process of learning about this area of Central Oregon, Bend, Redmond, Sun River, La Pine, etc., that you're considering moving to from the Seattle area or Washington area, or frankly, it doesn't really matter. But today we just wanted to highlight Seattle versus Bend because there's such a connection there between people commuting to and from Seattle on a regular basis, vacationing to and from Seattle on a regular basis. Eventually, those people that come down here enough are going to realize, hey, I can live here. I can figure out a way to make it work, and I can live in this beautiful landscape, this outdoor mecca that's not the urban, suburban feel of Seattle. And I can also live here for a significantly less amount of money. So again, that's where we're at. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please like and subscribe it. Drop a comment in the comment section below. Please tell me where I'm wrong. Tell me what you like. Tell me what you want to see in the future. That's what Zach and I are doing with this channel. We're trying to help provide as much value as we possibly can while you're making your decision and doing your research about Central Oregon. So tell us what else you want us to cover, and we will go out and do that. Our contact information is in the comment section below. Please reach out to us. Call us, text us. You can email us. You can set up a Zoom meeting. Okay, it starts with you guys. You have to reach out to us, and then we're here at your service to try and help you find out where in this area Central Oregon is the best fit for you. So thanks again for watching. We're so thankful that you're supporting this channel. We really, really appreciate it. We will plan on seeing you around town, potentially. We're starting to see some of the people that have watched our videos in and around town. I'm getting some funny comments from even friends of mine that are seeing me. I've never told them about this channel because we want it to grow organically. We're trying to find the people that are in the market. So we're starting to see people around town, which is kind of cool. But if we don't see you around town, then we will just plan on seeing you on the next video. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.